Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of HER Space Unscripted. I'm Angela. I'm your host. I'm a woman. I am an entrepreneur. I am a mommy. I am a lot of things, but what I'm always is evolving. And that's what this space is about. This podcast is about women creating a space and being in a space of evolution so we can share our stories, share our truths, struggles, achievements, celebration. If that sounds like a place you want to be, then you're here. And we are excited to take up some space today. I am so excited because today is the first time I have a guest on my show. And it only makes sense that it would be this person. Anyone who knows me, we always make a joke that if she's in there, I'm in there. If I'm in there, she's in there, whether we're there together or not. Everybody expects to have us. She's the yin to my yang, but this woman, man, this woman is a powerhouse. She is a mommy. She was a single mom for a really long time. She's a wife. She's an entrepreneur. She's an advocate. She's a city councilor. And this year, she was the recipient of New Mexico's Small Businesswoman of the Year, Miss Daisy Lira.
Yay!
Welcome, Miss Daisy.
Wow.
Wow, I agree. What a list. Yeah. I mean,
That's
but I
great.
think the most top of that list for me is that I get to call you my friend.
Yes.
Yes, we've grown to do some things in the last 6 years that we've known each
Yeah.
other.
I know. It has been amazing. I mean, I'm very blessed, and I've told you this a million times, that I'm very blessed to have met you.
Oh,
That our paths somehow along the way got, that they crossed.
yeah.
So I'm really, really happy. Um, I'm also really nervous for whatever
Yes.
reason, but
It's okay,
um,
me too. And it's my dang show, so trust me, I get it. No, but thank you so much for coming on. I was actually just laughing because we were telling the producers that I volunteered told you to be here, right? She was like, I don't do this. I don't do this. I'm like, oh, I think I messed up by making that sound like a question. So when are you coming on the show? So here we are. But like I told you, this is really just like me and you having normal conversation. I wanted
Mhm.
to bring you in this space because you are the exact woman that we're trying to create this space for. I mean, man, you've made some things happen in your life, and so let's start there. Tell me a little bit about who you are, where you're from, how.
So I am from Sunland Park, New Mexico. I was born in El Paso, Texas, only because Sunland Park does not have a hospital. But if
That's a little. That's a
if
little.
given the opportunity to have a hospital, I would have been born in Sunland Park. But I am proud to be from my hometown, Sunland Park, New Mexico. I've been living there all my 43 years of life. And my mom is from Zacatecas. My dad is from Mexico City. So, of course, I'm Mexican American born here, but my roots, my culture, everything is 100% Mexican. Um, I was raised by my grandma for a couple of years. My mom used to live in Juarez with my siblings, and so she wanted me to get that education, the American education. And so she told me that I needed to stay with grandma, which I did. I love my grandma. She now has passed, but I really do think that she's my guardian angel. One of them, at least, because my other one is my grandpa Angel, which is my dad's dad. And I really do think that those two people, they take care of me 100%. I was a product of um, a low income family. We would live off the government, with food stamps, with TANF, with everything that they would offer. My
You know,
mom,
anything and
anything and
everything.
everything that they would offer, my mom was there first, first person in line. And I'm very grateful for that. I
Yeah.
really am. I'm not ashamed.
No.
I'm not gonna sit here and say, well, what could have have she done different? Like, I always saw her. She went to school. She went to community college. Um, she got her associate's degree in early childhood education. She did everything. And she was, again, always looking for ways to achieve that next
But I
step.
think that's important to recognize, right?
Mhm.
Because I think with the work you and I do, we're always talking about resources, right?
Yeah.
Because I think resources are where it's at. And so those were resources.
Yeah.
Your mom was tapping into her resources in her
Mhm.
community so that she could take care of her kids, take care of her family, and grow. And that's exactly what
Mhm.
she did. And then gave
Yeah.
you the opportunity that
Yeah.
you have to do this, to do what you've done.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, she did open a lot of different avenues for me and for my siblings. I'm the oldest of three. I have two younger brothers, not that young. We're like a little escalerita. It's I'm 43, my other brother's 42 and then 41. So it's like we were all,
The
months
same age.
apart. Yes. So I love them. We get along just great. And but yeah, I think like she did open a lot of avenues, a lot of ways to look at life. And not to be ashamed of it. I like I said, I'm not ashamed of it. I am very, very proud that when she needed the most, she was able to go get that help.
Yeah.
And I don't know, and I can't imagine what she went through, right? If she went through embarrassment or I really don't know. I was really young, but I never saw that. I never saw her struggle. I always thought I lived like the perfect life
Yeah.
when I was little. Even though we didn't have much.
Yeah.
We really didn't. I always tell this story, and I think I've told you already that we used to live in a trailer home, and the reason why I'm so afraid of cats is because there was a hole. We didn't have a floor in one of the restrooms, and there was a hole. I don't know why there was a hole in the restroom, but a bunch of cats went into my room, and I was sleeping, and in the middle of the night, I just felt warm in my feet and warm in everywhere, all over the place. And then I was like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" And I moved and a cat got scared and they all got scared and they started going everywhere. And I'm like, oh my God. And it was crazy because they were making weird noises and they were hitting themselves against the windows and stuff. And I couldn't yell, but then my mom, my dad came running and then they took them out. But it was quite scary. So then
Yeah.
I was afraid of cats for a really long time. Not so much now. I got over my fear. I don't know how but
Well,
yeah,
but you're not going to invite any
but
cats in your
yeah,
house
but
anytime soon.
I won't. There's a couple of stray cats here and there, but it's I not mine. But yeah, and so it's stuff like that that we used to live in different little places here and there, but I never felt any
You know,
kind
we
of
we talk about that a lot, huh? You and I. We met a lot later in life. Like I
yeah,
said, we've known each other for like 6 or 7 years now. But when we've shared stories,
yeah,
because I lived in a trailer. We had no floor for whatever reason in the kitchen, just plywood board. Not sure why. But
yeah.
coming from there and in that space to where you are, I mean, so tell me like what was your like where you just knew like I'm gonna like I'm gonna kick this life's ass, like what, like at what point did you wake
Uh,
up one morning? I mean, did it gradually happen or
No, actually, you know what? I really do think that it was more so like the perseverance of my mom, like her resilience. I love my dad. My dad is amazing. He's present. But for a long time he was an alcoholic. And so the only person that I would look up to was my mom for a lot of years because she never gave up. She would always be looking. She worked at a shelter for a lot of years in downtown El Paso. Then she went to the Y and eventually she opened her home daycare. And at that point, I was always like, why? Like, why does she keep on wanting to do more and more? But I was a kid and I didn't understand. And I'm like, but there was a point where I was like, this is the reason why. Like she was my example.
yeah.
For sure my example 100% of what I wanted. And so I was a young mom. Like I had my baby at 19. And so at that point I realized I need to do something different, something better, something that's not I don't know, something that's just different.
Yeah.
And so that's when I knew. I had my first job. Well, actually, you know what? When it came to me, and I think this is the day that it came to me was when I was my first job. I was 16. I was working at McDonald's, and they told me you need to go clean the restrooms, and I'm like, okay. Well, I went and I cleaned the restrooms, and then 15 minutes later, they're like, you. I'm like, what else do I do? Oh, go check the restrooms again. And I went and the restrooms were dirty again. And 15 minutes later, I'm like, oh my God. Okay. So I went again and I cleaned the restrooms. That's okay. So now clean the playground. And then 30 minutes later, go clean the restrooms again. And I'm like,
This
this is
cannot be
not
my
me.
life.
Like, I'm not, this is not me. I'm not going to do this.
Yeah.
And so I lasted 1 week. Actually, from the week, it was 3 days because I wasn't scheduled the whole week. So it was 3 days. And after those 3 days, I told my mom, no, I'm not going to go back. I'm not going to go back. I need to do something for my life with me. And so I went to school. I graduated. I went to school and then I got pregnant. And then that became my motive. Brandon became my biggest motivation to do something very different with
Yeah.
my life. And so that's I think. But when I realized that I wasn't meant to work for somebody, was cleaning the restrooms like 10
Oh,
times.
so that was just like, I'm not meant to work for somebody,
Yeah.
not just at McDonald's cleaning the
Yeah.
restroom, but like, I'm about to be a
Yeah.
boss. Like, I'm
Yes.
not meant to work for
Yeah.
some. Well, that's interesting
Um,
because I was 16. That, I mean, okay. So fast forward, you now have Brandon,
mhm.
19. You're like, next step, I graduated, next steps. Then what?
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, I need to know what I wanted to do. And given like I graduated in 2012, um, I'm born in December, so I was about to turn um 18 already. Well, I was like actually 18 when I graduated. And so when I went to college, I had no clue what I wanted to do. Like no clue.
Yeah.
I went in for journalism.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went in for welding. I don't know why welding. I went in for human resources. Well, I, I don't know, name it, and I probably went in. I
I
got
had a couple of
classes.
classes.
Yes, I probably did. And so then afterwards, again, seeing my mom, because at this point my mom already had some time in childcare, and so that I knew that that's something I did not want to do because it was like I love my mom and I wanted to be like her, but not exactly quite like her. So it was just kind of like, no, 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 no.
Girl, I
Like
didn't want
that,
nothing to do with
yeah.
kids. My mom had her home, the kids, my whole growing up. Yes, I was exactly the same. I didn't even want my own kids. Like, I was
See,
done with kids.
yeah, like, see, I was like, I don't, no, I don't think. And then, so, but one day my mom's like, they're renting out this place on Magnat Daisy. Do you wanna open up your own daycare? And I'm like, no. What makes you think that I want to open up my own daycare? I'm like, no. And then she's like, you should. And one of my aunts that had a home daycare with my mom too, she was like, see, mija, we'll help you. We'll help you and we'll go and let's check it out. Like, just don't say no just because, like, let's go check it out. So I went to go check it out. It was really ugly, really ugly. The place was falling apart. It was really bad.
You're like,
Yes, it was. I'm like, oh my goodness, how can we have a daycare here? And so, but then my mom's like, well, we'll definitely do something. And so I was like, okay. So we went, and she's like, look, this has a lot of potential. I did not see it at that point. I
yeah.
was not a visionary at that point. I think right now I do consider myself a visionary. I do see things and I see a lot of potential, not only in things, but in people. But at that point, at that age, I was 24 and I already had another baby. I had Brianna already. And so I had to do something, right? I knew I didn't want to work for people, and so my mom's like, look, we'll throw this, we'll throw that, we'll do all of this stuff, and we'll bring up some things. And so I was like, okay, so, well, let's do it. At that point, there was some people in the licensing unit that would go and check on my mom's daycare and all that stuff. And one of the ladies said, "You know what? I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna help you out. I know some people that could donate furniture, that could donate some things so that you could do something." Because I would help her, I would help my mom here and there
Yeah.
at the center. And so that wasn't my full-time job, but I would help her. And when they would come, they would see me and they're like, you have a lot of potential, Daisy. Like you're made for this. And I'm like, really? And I couldn't believe it. So then
But I
finally I
love
was
that.
like,
I
yeah,
love you've never shared that part of your journey. And I love
yeah,
that because I see today how much you do that for other people. I didn't realize that
mhm,
someone because I mean, we talk about it all the time, right? Like
yeah,
mentorship and having a vision for, like they believed in you before you believed in yourself.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They did. It was a whole team, which I'm very grateful for my tia Nadina, for my mom, for Emma from
The
licensing.
licensing.
Yes, because they did, and they were like, no, like you could do this, you could do this. And so then I was like, okay, let me try it. So we went on a weekend. I spoke to the lady. The lady was like, yeah, yeah, she had a daycare there. And she's like, okay, Daisy. So she had two kids. She would just take care of two kids. And so then she's like, I'm going to close on Friday and you could come in Saturday and Sunday and do whatever you need to do. And then Monday you open.
Wait.
And then I'm like, how is that even possible? Like, how are we going to do it? But my mom and I and my siblings and a lot of people helped me out a lot.
Yeah.
Like we were able to get everything out there, stripe the floors, everything. Like we took everything out, we painted, we put things in. It was a different
So
scenario.
you're I call it an empire because let's be honest, at this point, girl, it is. Your empire was built over a weekend.
Over a weekend. Yeah,
It
that's
started
right.
over a weekend. Like
Yep.
that is so
Yeah. It was
crazy.
over a weekend and we started the whole thing and after that it wasn't long before I went from two kids to 10 to 15 to 20 to right now over 400 kids and it
Say
is
that again. Say
exciting.
that again. Right now,
Over 400.
over 400. Hence the
Yes.
empire thing I was talking about. No,
Yeah.
but yeah. And how long ago was that?
That was in 2007.
2007.
July of 2007. It was that weekend.
Wow.
Yeah, July 7th.
So
Yeah,
we're
and it was
18 years in.
mhm.
And we're 400 kids. Not
Yeah.
only that, but you also serve as the chair. The governor appointed you to the chair of the Early Advisory Council. So you're leading the state in a lot of ways in early childhood. So tell me a little bit about that. Now we have your advocacy part, you have your
Yeah.
leadership part. So you went from an overnight turnaround 18 years ago
Mhm.
to all of this.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. And it wasn't always like I think the passion for it, I started getting it throughout the years and throughout the experiences with the children, with the families, with a bunch of injustices, with a bunch of instances that would happen all the time. So I don't know why I took that battle and I made it mine
Yeah.
for whatever reason. I don't know. And that question, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to answer it. It just happens to me all the time that I usually see something not like an injustice and I'm like, man, this is not right. And then I'm there, metiche, trying to fix it. But, and
So you
I
being
should.
a metiche has helped a lot of people.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I did. I got appointed by the governor when they created the department and when they started this early advisory council, which we have a meeting this Wednesday, actually. I have to go to Hobbs. Um, and and yeah, I love it. I love the way that now we have a voice in the table. And not just my voice. There's many other people. We have a lot of people that actually have a voice within the department and with it and for the children. And it's very diverse. A lot of the times people are just one-sided and they like to think well, it's just one voice or it's just one person or it's just no, it's a bunch of us. It's a bunch of us. And I also listen to the needs of all my community, of the children, of the families, of the staff. So it is a bunch of us. It could just be maybe one person that like could talk louder or maybe shows up because I don't talk that much, but I show up and I make sure that the right people listen to the problems. And so yeah, that's where I'm at. And I love where our state is going and the progress and the achievements that our state has been
Is
doing.
that why you ran for city council? Is
No,
because of that too, or how did you become a
no,
city councilor?
actually, that's a whole different story. No, actually, which brings me back. No, it's city council. It's a different thing. I actually, at that point when I ran for city council, I already had three centers. But one day I was sitting in my office and I was opening up the mail and I got a bill for $2,000 from our water utility. And I was like, for one center. And I'm like, no, this can't be. I'm like, this cannot be $2,000 for a month. I'm like, I don't think we have like, that center has 6 toilets. And I'm like, and I know we don't use that much water. So then I contacted them. We kept on going in circles. They're like, no, no. Well, eventually I had to pay it off. I had to pay it because if not, it was either that or they disconnect my services.
Yeah.
And it was in June. In July, you have to go sign up to see if you want to run.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, well, it is not knowing anything about politics nor who runs what. I was like, I'm gonna run for my city council because this water company has to change. So then I run, I win, and then I find out that the city of Sunland Park has nothing to do with the water. It had nothing
It's
to do
still
with
county
water.
down there.
So I was like, and at that point, it had nothing to do with the water, and the decisions were made. The board, the water utility had its own board
Mm-mm.
that was appointed by different entities, but not the city of Sunland Park, the council. That's two different entities. And so I was like, I did not know that back then. So I
You
just
were just
ran. I
gonna
was like,
become a city
yeah,
councilor because your water bill was too high.
yep. And so because I wanted to make a change, but then I soon found out that that wasn't the case. And so, but then I did see a lot of other different issues that I was able to help.
Yeah.
And that I'm like, well, maybe if we start here and I start learning how to make a change and how to be an advocate for all these families, for all these children, for all the constituents. I was like, maybe this could be something that could turn into something else. And now it's 8 years later.
Yeah.
I know.
We have a saying in my house, we do, me and my daughter. My daughter always tells me, Mom, what would Daisy do? She wants me to channel my inner Daisy. We say that all the time because you just have this confidence about you. Like you just have this approach in life that is so inspiring and so it motivates people. Have you always been that way or did you have to build that in some way or?
No, you know what? I think I've always been like that. I've
Yeah.
always been that way. I for the most part, I think my parents, and I'm gonna say both of them because my dad, I always tell this story, and my brother Christian always he laughs because like, ay, vas con tu historia de que you never got spanked or you never got, but it's true. Like my parents,
It's like,
no, yeah, it was. I never. I don't want to say I didn't have boundaries, but I didn't. But because I wasn't like I never got chewed out by my parents. I always was given the confidence that I have now. Like it's the reassurance of I had value.
yeah.
And so, I was never talked to as if I was just a kid. I was always included in conversations. And so I do see that a lot. And sometimes as a parent, I commit that mistake that my parents never did. And so I was like, where am I getting this from? Social media. I'm always like in social media. But yeah, my parents were always like, they always gave me that space and that confidence to go to them. And for them not to be like, oh, well, this is not right, or no, it was just always like, see, oh, okay, and tell me more, and dime, and it was very open, very open. I had wonderful parents with their flaws. We all have flaws, but I felt they were the right parents for me.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I've always had that confidence. I've always been very quiet though.
Yeah.
Like I'm not that. I won't stand in a room and talk to everybody. No.
Oh, I know you make me do it.
Yes.
any speaking engagement. She's like, oh yeah, we'll do it. And then I'm like, we're doing what? So, oh, you're going to go talk here. I know.
Yeah, I have a vision of where things should go and who should do things. That's my gift. That I know who should be doing things and who
Yeah.
should be leading things. But yeah, I wouldn't stand in front of like that would cause a lot, I don't know, a lot of nerves or something. But yeah, I do better with one-on-one or with a small group. I could sit down and talk for hours with, but if you put me in a room full of people, then I usually shut down
Yeah.
and I'm more of a listener. And I really do listen. I really do listen and I will be there to listen and eventually if I get these people one on one, I will repeat what they said because I listen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but yeah, that's my leadership style.
Yeah.
But I've always it, yeah.
Yeah.
I've always had that ever
That
since I went,
confidence.
yeah, that
Yeah.
confidence ever since I was in.
What would you say to those of us, because I don't have that, like I said, we literally practice and channeling our inner Daisy in my house. No, but this, this confidence that you have is very unique. It's very because it's not a cockiness. You are one of the most humble people I've ever met. But your presence, like you know your value in what you bring and in the spaces that you're in. What would you say to women that don't necessarily have that organically? Like they're trying to build it. They're trying to be more like that.
I think the number one thing is loving yourself. Like you just need to really, 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 really fall in love with you. I love myself. I love myself more than anything. And that could sound wrong. Like that could sound wrong. And that could be potentially in some people's heads, it's like, oh, it's very selfish or it could be taken the wrong way. But it shouldn't. It shouldn't.
Yeah.
You should always put yourself first in a lot of situations. And it's like there's so many situations. Like you go to the airport and they tell you you have to put your mask first and then you put other people's mask, right?
Yeah.
Because you have to take care of yourself because if not, then
Yeah.
how are you going to take care of others?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I do feel. Like I need to take care of me. I love myself and I love myself with all my flaws and everything I have because I know that I have things that I need to work on.
Yeah.
And eventually I will get there. But I love myself with my flaws. I love my flaws.
Yeah. 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 And
I
you
know.
embrace them. I think that's something that I've learned about you a lot is like you said, I'm not naive to them. And that's what I mean by cocky and humble, right? Like you're like, I'm not perfect by any means, but I still have so much value and like I still am, you know, and so I think that that's part of this her space, this, is building that. And like you said, it is kind of horrible how frowned upon that statement is. I
Yeah.
mean, to say, I love myself, why is that such a negative thing? But it is, right? Like people
Yeah.
hear you say that and they're like, oh, like,
Yeah.
she loves herself. Okay. Like,
Yeah.
but why? Why is it like that?
Uh,
You know?
I don't know, but it is. Even the phone, sometimes they're like, I just love myself. I love this and that. And then those social media posts, narcissistic.
Narcissistic.
Narcissistic. My phone is judging me too. No, but really, really, like I think
Yes.
you love yourself for who you are and you own up to who you are.
Yeah.
And I think that's important because a lot of the times and I do know that that's a really fine line because a lot of people are like, well, loving yourself does not mean that you're right all the time.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't. Like I'm so wrong a lot of times. And then I go and I fight it and then I'm like, okay, I was wrong. And then I go back and I'm like, shoot, I was wrong.
Damn
but,
it.
but I like to win. But yeah, it is important to be on that like yeah, on that boundary, not crossing that line because that's one of the biggest mistakes that people could perceive this as. Like loving yourself does not mean that you have to be right all the time or that you have to prove a point all the time
Or that you're
or
better
that
than anyone
you're better
there.
than anybody else because we're not. It's like we're all in the same playing field and that's another difference. whole conversation. The people that think that they're better than others. It's like, really? Like we're
How?
all like, yeah, we all have 2 feet, 2 arms, two, like,
Yeah.
and it's like, and even the people that don't
Mhm.
usually like do way
Achieve
better,
more.
achieve more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because they have
To
consistency and they have
overcome
determination and
and
they overcome. Yeah.
mhm.
And it isn't about what you have or what you don't have. It's about when you show up
Yeah.
and your ability to be humble and say, like, yeah, I fucked up.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could say
Yeah. It's okay.
that.
We're all adults here. But no, yes. Like,
Yeah.
so that's something that you and I talk about a lot,
Mhm.
showing up.
Mhm.
Because I think showing up is in every aspect is so important, right? Because we talk about it as parents, showing up for our kids. We talk about it in our businesses, showing up, but one of the biggest times we talk about it is in our advocacy work, right? Like showing up. I think
Yeah.
you and I have found that the most meaningful impact is showing up.
Yeah.
It's really just bringing your voice into a space and showing up, being consistent with it. I'd like to think that that's how I've grown into my Daisy space. Two is by showing up for myself.
Mhm.
It does feel weird at first. I won't lie. Not all of us come natural like that. Like it has felt weird at times when I've had to like tell myself like it's okay. It's okay to put yourself first. Like it's okay to love yourself.
Yeah.
Just because TikTok now is you're on narcissistic TikTok, like it's not a thing. Like you're okay, right? But
Mhm.
I think society has put us in a space where showing up for yourself almost seems either one, it's like a job, because I love that, like the self care, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I am so tired from my self care journey. Like, like, it's like you're not taking care of yourself if you don't drink this tea and if you don't go
Yeah.
to this gym at this time and if you aren't up at 5 a.m. and right, like, what's taking care of yourself became a full time job.
Yeah.
Like when it's supposed to be like being, like you
Yeah.
said, like showing up for yourself. I
Yeah.
think taking care of yourself, self care, all that, showing up for yourself, it's just so different for everybody.
Yeah.
So, what do you do to show up for yourself? Like, what do you do to take care of yourself and be able to be in this space of, like, I love me?
Hi, what do I do? Well, number one, my job for me is not a job. Like I love what I do. So I'm in love with my job.
Yeah.
So it is that too. That whenever like I wake up and I wake up looking forward to sitting on that chair, making those phone calls, opening up those emails, um, talking to the people and making sure that I'm taking care of somebody. So I think that's for the most part, I'm more of a giver than a receiver.
Mhm.
I feel weird when I receive stuff. I do. I'm like, well, what do I do with this?
Thank
I'm like,
you.
but I feel really good giving.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think that it's mostly that I don't see my day to day as like I have to do this. Like I don't do anything that I feel that I have to do. I
Mhm.
don't. I usually don't do stuff that feels like that.
Mhm.
So I whatever I do, it's because I want to do it and because it's either making a difference or one day I met this man in politics, very very outgoing, always, Lupe, actually, Mr. Lupe. He told me that we were nobody if we didn't leave any kind of mark in this world. It's like you need to find your mark. What is it that you're gonna leave in this world? Because if not, you're just another passenger.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's true. And he's from Sunland Park. He would canvas a lot. A very nice man, very well known. But he told me that, and I was like, that's right, Lupe. That's crazy. Like that it's true.
Yeah.
We're just here in and out in this world. It's like you just live one time. Might as well do whatever you want to do, happy with a purpose and to help others. That's the number one thing too. Like
Yeah.
for me, it's if I'm making a difference in one or two people,
Yeah.
like I'm making it.
Yeah.
I'm making it in life. And of course, I mean, I also take care of me and my necessities and my, I love dressing up. Like I love dressing up.
I know. Hence, remember how I told you guys I show up in this space ugly? I knew she was coming. This, I text her and I said, "What are you wearing?" And she said, "I don't know, something very demure, something very cutesy." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, let me get dressed." Because if anybody knows you, you dress for the occasion. You always do.
I do.
But I love it. I love it because I love it because you don't do it for you. It's exactly how I said on my first episode is like, I was so stressed about how it was going to show up. And I'm like, freaking just show up as you. And this is you. Like,
Mhm.
you love to show up like that. And that's why I was like, I already knew I bought this and everything because I knew how we were going to show up.
No, yes, I do, and that is part of my, I guess, what makes me feel good, and I do. I love it. I love dressing up. I love putting on my tacones and I don't know, very different kind of unique style that it's like sometimes I put stuff together that it's like, ah, maybe this doesn't look good or maybe this doesn't go. But it doesn't matter. Like I put other stuff on and I just go out like that and I get compliments.
Yes.
They're like, "Oh, look, that looks good." And I'm like, "Good. Very good."
Well, I'm glad because it's what I put together, and I didn't think it made sense in anyone else's head but my own. No, but you do.
Yeah.
You always do, and you always look gorgeous doing it. So let me ask you this. One last thing before we end. If you were to look into that camera over there and you were to tell the women that are watching today, you said basically that it's passion, it's reason, it's
Mhm.
how how do they how do they know? How do they know when what's their reason? What's their passion? What's the like if you could give any advice to them about becoming a badass cuz let's be honest, you're chingona. I mean, you really are. Like I a lot of people they don't realize like how much you've done because you are so humble about it. You know, I we always laugh because they're everyone's always like talking crap to us because we don't put it out there in the universe a lot, like the things that we
Yeah.
do or the things that we're whatever. And I tell you that all the time, like you won woman business small business woman of the year for the state of New Mexico. And I literally remember I text you and you sent me a screenshot and you're like, do you want to come to this? Like you weren't excited, you were like, do you want to come to this with me? And I'm like, I literally jumped out of bed like, what the heck? And, so you're extremely humble, but you are a chingona. Like, and in so
Oh.
many ways. So what do you tell women about that? Because it's not like it came to you overnight. You're not trust fund baby or anything, right? Like you had to work
Same,
really
yeah.
hard to build what you have. So
But
what advice?
I think for the number one thing is show up for yourself. Like show and don't short change yourself. That's the number one thing. Because like, a lot of the times it's like you want something and you think the grass is greener on the other side. But if you just focus on you, like if you just focus on you, you wake up early, you take care of yourself, you do what you got to do, you show up. And you don't make excuses like, oh, well, oh, it's because I woke up late, or it's because this, or it's because of that. Like, no, you actually show up and you sacrifice because it comes with sacrifices. It really does. Um, but just show up, don't shortchange yourself. I think that's the number one thing for me to I didn't look at the camera, but for anyone that's out there, it's like you show up for yourself and really, really show up for yourself, not just, say it or desire it from other people or look like, oh, like I did it. I know anybody could do it. You guys could do it. Just show up for yourself and do it and go through with it, not just like, oh, well, this was too hard. Maybe I'm going to pivot to something else. Like, no, follow through, and you're not following through for anybody but follow through for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I love
Mm.
it.
Yeah.
No, well, thank you. Like I said, it only made sense that it would be you to be the first one here. And I know you are dying because you did not want to be here. But I really appreciate you
Yeah.
coming through and being, because this space is exactly for women to like you to celebrate, to learn from, to be inspired by. And so
Oh,
thank
this
you
is so
so
cool. No,
much for
thank you so
showing
much.
up.
Oh, I love you.
Well,
No, this is cool.
as you heard, it's about showing up for yourself. It's about showing up for others. It's about empowering women, right? It's not just a slogan. It's just not something cute that you saw on Pinterest. It's something that is powerful. It's something that's meaningful. It's something that can impact a lot of people. And so again, that's what this is for. This is what we're trying to do. So if this resonates with you, or if you feel like any other women need to hear it, comment, like, share, subscribe, all the things. And thank you for taking up space with us today.